I'm Michael Artsis at BeTerrific TV on all social media. Thanks for joining us. You are the Terrifics. You make BeTerrific special. You can join our Slack chat and send us wonderful feedback. We appreciate it. And that is connect@beterrific.com. I know Jenny is watching in Finland, Digital Phil in Texas. We can't thank you guys enough. We've got CJ in the great state of Texas as well. Joining us, our chairman, Dr. David Milch. How you doing?
Michael, good to see you
again.
Good
to see you.
Last time we were sitting next to each other was in this building at Toy Fair.
Yes, yeah. And we had a lot of fun.
Had a lot of fun.
Now we're here for the auto show, which is always a spectacular event. There is never been an auto show in the history of the United States that has more debuts than the New York International Auto Show. This is the show where everybody comes to debut their new vehicles, and I think that is what's amazing. So every year it sets the record for how many debuts there are, and it's a lot of fun. It's always been something that I've enjoyed going to as a fan, and then I've covered it since 1998. So.
And you grew up with cars in your family. I know your dad has always been a car aficionado, and you told me about the show. I figured, like most shows, 3 or 4 days, and you said, no, David, this goes for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And that says a lot.
And we do 2 days, the 2 press days, which is really, really exciting. You've walked the floor a little. It's pretty amazing, is it not?
It's fantastic. Absolutely. So much to talk about, so many wonderful guests, the technology and the pizzazz, and yes, it's automobiles. Who doesn't like learning about and playing with cars?
I think everybody does. I don't think you can find a person who doesn't like finding out about cars. We've got Mazda joining us right now, and I'm very excited about this because, good morning, Mazda is really, Mazda's a car company that over the years in the United States has really built really great, reliable vehicles, also some really fun vehicles. And I think in the last 3 to 5 years, Mazda has really started to focus on technology, as many of the car companies have. But the things that you've done in the last 2 to 3 years even has really shaped the way we think about cars. And now you've got some new vehicles that are really taking that to the next level even still.
Yeah, I think as far as Mazda goes, we're taking it to another level from where we are currently in the previous generation of products. As we move into our next generation of products, more premium vehicles, more premium content. I think from a design standpoint, we've developed a really strong design language we call Kodo design. It's all about the movement and the surfacing and the reflection-based surfacing. And so you can see in all our products, especially the new CX5, which is our latest introduction, and the MX-5 RF, how we've developed Kodo styling to take it to a new level, a much more sophisticated level, and a much more premium level.
What I think is interesting about Mazda is it's always been about value, right? So you talk about Kodo styling, but the reality is that the price points stay the same, and they're in the same ballpark. You're not talking ultra luxury price points for a Mazda, which is very nice. So a Mazda is attainable, and it becomes a very good car for people to travel in, to have families and take trips in, and also to commute in. And now I'm seeing a lot of Uber drivers using Mazda cars as well, especially the CX5. It's kind of like the perfect Uber vehicle because of its size and because of its passenger capacity.
Well, I think great observation as far as offering more value. People are moving down from upper premium vehicles, from Audis and Volvos when they get into our CX9, for example, and they are just amazed by the amount of content, the quality, the craftsmanship, the natural materials that we're using. We have rosewood and real aluminum in the interior, and these are things that you're seeing in premium cars, and we're putting them in a Mazda at non-premium prices. And I think that's the strength of the brand right now, is moving into this premium space, but not with premium pricing.
Can you talk about the new CX5 and what the differences are?
A lot of difference in the vehicle. The size of the vehicle stayed basically the same as the previous vehicle. What we've done is we put a lot of emphasis into ride quality and noise and vibration and harshness. So we put a lot of effort into the seals around the doors, for example, the type of undercoating we use in the trunk area, the type of materials we're using in the rear cargo space. A lot of attention's been put into that. Above and beyond that, the whole interior is completely new on the vehicle. All the exterior sheet metal is new. The interior is a huge step above the previous generation CX5, which people loved. We had great response on that vehicle, great sales, but we really feel with the new CX5, we've again taken it to another level. People buying premium vehicles are going to come and try a CX5 and be amazed at the amount of quality, craftsmanship, and what they're going to get from a standpoint of technology in our vehicles going forward for a price point that's far different than what you get in the premium brands.
It's so interesting to hear you guys talking about Mazda. Mazda is a car company that I remember going way back from when it was first introduced. And I think they were the ones that came out with the rotary engine,
We were
right?
the first and only, yeah.
That is very
engine,
true.
exactly,
It's
yeah.
correct.
And there was the RX-7. Everybody wanted to have, you know.
Yeah, I was going to say the RX-7 and the RX-8, but the RX-7 is to this day a cult classic. And like
absolutely.
the 93 RX-7 is so sought after because it was a very limited production run and it was a great car.
And also at the time, when they came out with the rotary engine, the sort of take on the Japanese car industry was that they took what was best from the European and the American and, you know, put quality control and, you know, some enhancements in it, but basically weren't the innovators. And suddenly you have this rotary engine and really breakthrough in the technology and the efficiency and all, and I think that the Japanese car industry has really continued to demonstrate that. Would you say so?
I think for Mazda, the rotary is part of our history and we're very proud of it. We took it and developed the technology from the Wankel engine and we perfected it. We made it reliable when we put it into RX2s, RX3s, and the Cosmos Sport back in the 60s, and then brought it into the RX-7 and then later on the RX-8. It's part of our Mazda spirit, you know, this challenging spirit that we have as a company, never give up. We could have easily stepped away from the rotary, you know, back then when, you know, other companies decided not to use it. General Motors looked into using the rotary, but we stayed with it, and the challenge for us was we were the only company developing it. So we couldn't work around with other companies getting their technology and their feedback and what they had learned developing the rotary. We did it all on our own. So, and we're still to this day the only Japanese manufacturer to win Le Mans 24-hour race, and we did it with a rotary engine.
Wow. I didn't know. That's pretty spectacular. What about putting it in other vehicles? How come it's never made it to the CX5 or to any other vehicles?
Well, you know, our SkyActiv technology, our powertrains are very efficient right now. We're obviously focused on power and fuel economy, and for us right now, the SkyActiv is really where we want to focus our attention. We're going to be bringing out a diesel in the near future. So I think for us it's one of those things where we really want to stay focused on the SkyActiv and what SkyActiv's all about from an engine's technology standpoint, but also chassis dynamics. And SkyActiv isn't just the motor, but it's this holistic approach to chassis development and engine development.
So you're looking at how to make the chassis lighter, how to make it stronger at the same time, while looking at other components of the car to make it stronger, lighter, which then in turn gives you better fuel economy, makes it more efficient. You're looking at alternative fuels like diesel, which has been around forever. It's not really an alternative fuel, but we don't see many diesel engines on the roads in the United States.
Yeah, you're talking about sort of the, you know, the guts of the car, and you also mentioned this Kudo. Is it this
Kodo design?
Kodo.
Yeah, that's our design. Or with it's a K-O-D-O.
It sounds kind of Asian, Japanese. Is that an aesthetic, or is it a whole approach?
It's a design philosophy. I mean, we've named it Kodo because of what it represents from the standpoint of this movement. The vehicle looks like, we want the vehicle to look like it's moving when it's standing still. So when you walk around the vehicle, your eye never stops. You go from the front of the vehicle to the side of the vehicle to the rear of the vehicle. The surface tension changes. It goes from very soft forms to very tight forms, and that's what Kodo's all about. You don't see it in other Japanese brands. It's a very pure design statement, and it's also for us, it's a very classical design statement.
I hear a lot of car manufacturers say we want the car to look like it's moving when it's standing still. It's a very hard thing to achieve. How does Mazda achieve that?
A lot of it, we have three basic tenets with design, and it's proportion, surface, and detail. And we're very focused on the proportion of the vehicle. If you get the proportions right, you're halfway there, because the proportions are what gives the vehicle a feeling of it's moving, and it feels very balanced and very stable on its wheels. Then we develop the surface tension. The surface tension helps move your eye around the vehicle from the front to the rear. And then the detail, and the detail just enhances it. It's like putting on a great pair of shoes after you have a nice well-tailored suit on. And that's kind of how we approach design, these three main parts of the pyramid, with proportion, surface, or what we call reflection-based surfacing, and then the details.
In terms of the market opportunity, obviously North America is a key market for all manufacturers. Japan, the home market, Europe has always been strong. What other markets does a company like Mazda look at in terms of the emerging markets, the markets where you want to develop further?
Well, we're big in Europe. We're very popular in Australia. You know, in the Far East, we have in Thailand. We actually produce our truck in Thailand. We have vehicles that CX9 is sold in Russia and the United Arab Emirates. So we're
How about
all over.
South America? Is that
South America?
starting for you, or even Africa?
I'm not sure about Africa as far as an emerging continent from that standpoint, but I know we're big, again, in Australia, and obviously parts of Northern Europe, but we're big in Finland and in Norway and places like that. So we're, as a company, we're definitely a global company. Other brands are big in different countries. We kind of have our focus where we feel the consumer appreciates what Mazda is all about, and there's certain markets that it's more so than other markets.
And in terms of alternative energies, in terms of hybrids or electric and so forth, what kinds of initiatives has Mazda looked at?
We've looked at a lot. We've had hydrogen-powered vehicles that we had. I believe we had them in Northern Europe for a while. We're still exploring opportunities in that field. We haven't really decided on a specific direction yet at this point, but we understand the need for that as we go forward. I think the key thing for us is as we've developed our SkyActiv technology, we have the best average fuel economy of any brand in America, and right now we predict that for 2017 we'll be leading that segment as well. So from a gasoline engine standpoint, we are the most efficient manufacturer in the market right now.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and I love what you guys are doing. I think everybody should check out Mazda.
Absolutely.
David, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with a whole lot more. How's that sound?
Ken. Really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome.
Pleasure meeting you, sir.
Nice meeting you.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome.
We'll be back with a whole lot more with your live continuing coverage from the New York International Auto Show right after this. Stay with us.